Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name's Liz and this is Let's Get Lizical, where we do everything card making. Today we're going to be doing a new to me technique, and we're going to be doing some Eclipse die cutting. So what I'm going to do here is I've already kind of planned out my card. You'll see it at the top of the screen there. And I did it just on like regular printer paper. I just cut it up into 4 sections, so you get your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I ended up trimming it down because I did trim this down to 5 by 3 3/4. And then I was kind of playing around with that. I will be using a stamp set from MFT and then another one from Simon Says Stamp, which is what I used for the like underwater foliage. Someone did it in a recent workshop of mine, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I'd originally stamped them out for Mother's Day cards to go with florals and stuff, but she ended up using it for a turtle. I was like, I'm gonna steal that idea if it's okay with you. She said to go ahead. So that's what I'm doing. I kind of skipped through the cutting of the masks, which I just cut with post-it notes. I just used this top sticky portion of these like cheap dollar store post-it notes that I have. Originally, I was going to try to color this entire thing with alcohol markers, but it was just too much. It doesn't stay like a nice solid blend. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to suck it up, stamp everything, and then cut masks, which I hate doing because I don't like fussy cutting. But it worked out. I mean, it was worth the effort. So I did it that way. And right now I didn't want to cut so many of the masks for these leaves because I just stamped the same thing 5 times. So I ended up just like kind of like moving them along the bottom as I did it. And it probably would have been easier for me just to cut masks for everything because I end up kind of going back into it and then going back from the right to the left, the bottom of the card after I do this top area because I was like, okay, it needs to be a bit darker. So I end up moving all those masks again. Next time, if I do this again, I will definitely just cut all the masks. It will definitely be worth the time. These leaves are super simple to cut. I didn't even try to cut out the stems for it. I just cut out the leaf portions. I'm not concerned about the stems. Even for the fish, like, didn't bother cutting the little tail on the angelfish because I'm just going to color it over in like a C9. So you're not even going to notice. You'll see that I do ink blend a little bit on the leaf there by accident, but again, I'm going to color these with alcohol markers. You really cannot tell in the finished product that that leaf is slightly different than the rest because it's just like a little bit more blue, but that's okay. Also, I would recommend now if you're using any water reactive inks like I am, I'm using Simon's Positively Saturated inks as usual, and do your water splattering before you take the masks off. I didn't think about this then, so I end up doing it after, which is fine as long as you're careful, because if you get water onto these stamped images, they are going to bleed because the water and the alcohol kind of react with one another. Like if you're using alcohol markers on this ink, it's fine, but if you're using watercolors, it will make it bleed kind of thing. So I just like very delicately did it as much as possible, but I probably should have just done it beforehand. Also, apologies for my camera. I got a new phone last week, and that's what I use for my filming for the moment until I get my new camera, either end of July, beginning of August. And this has some kind of autofocus on right now. And it's a little annoying, but it doesn't last too long, so I hope that it's okay for you guys. But yeah, I'm just gonna color away here. I'll play some music for the rest of this. I did speed this up to 5 times for this first portion of the video because this card did take me like an hour to do. It is very time consuming. And then I slow it down to my regular 3 times once I'm finished this portion, but I'll get back to that in a bit. Okay, so now that that's colored and done, I've taken this over to my brother's Scan and Cut and cut out the word dad into the panel, which I did by just like typing out the word dad in the font that I wanted to use. And then I created a 3 3/4 by 5 inch box and kind of like set it into the box the way I wanted it. I probably should have lined up the box with it. It's a little off center, which is okay. It's not too bad, but I more so went by where my paper was sitting on my cutting mat, and I should have scanned it because with the Brother Scan and Cut, you can scan your work surface and then you can place things kind of like more so where you want them. So I should have done that, but that's okay. Again, it's like very slightly off and not noticeable unless I point it out, probably. Anyway, I'm using another Simon set, and I think it's Friends with Fins or something like that. I'll link them down in the description below as always, but I just wanted to do that Sending You an Ocean of Love, and I used the ocean colored ink that I used on the bottom of the card to stamp it at the top, just so it was a little bit more subtle. I didn't want to stamp it in black or anything darker, so I ended up using the darker color just so you can see it on the lighter shade. And now I'm kind of like paper piecing it together. I am going to be putting the colored portions on the very top, but I'm adding 4 layers of the word dad I cut in white cardstock, and I'm piecing in those middle portions of the letters just so it kind of doesn't break up the pattern. Once this card is done, it's almost like an illusion, like you can barely see that there's something there, and if you tilt the card a bit, it's got a bit of like a 3D effect to it. And then you can then see the words. It's kind of like magical the way it shows up almost. It's pretty cool. I would definitely do this technique again, but maybe with something else. I don't know. This is definitely a card you don't want to mass produce because it does take quite a bit of time to do. But if you know you love doing that, go ahead. But I would just save this technique for someone special. But that's pretty much our card for today, guys. I'm gonna add some glittery pops of color on this as well for some bubbles. I was gonna try to add my glossy accents, but the bottle is completely clogged and I am out of tips, so I need to buy some new bottles. I need to be more careful with that. That stuff tends to get hard fairly quickly, and even when you put the lid on. So we'll just be more careful with glossy accents going forward. But yeah, so thanks again for joining me for today, guys. As always, it's a pleasure. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos or content. I do have a video coming out on Tuesday that I would like your input on, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, guys, thanks. Bye.